ladies and gentlemen, we're back to a normal week consistently, which is so nice. Today we're doing a map. Monday you're doing a primary, which I will hand out to you on Monday. Monday you have 1 through 10, Tuesday 11 through 20, Wednesday 21 through 30. You have a test on Thursday. It is 31 minutes. So we're staying at 31 minutes. Most of you had more than enough time. Can we agree? Okay, so after next week, we'll cut down to 30. We'll stay at 30 for a little bit. Then we'll cut down to 29. Stay there for a little bit, 28. Because we got to get down to 25 by the end. Everyone clear? Is Samantha Bennett cutting time on tests because I enjoy watching you squirm, or is there a reason? And what is that reason, Steffi? Yeah, because on the exam, just like Steffi said, you have 55 minutes for 55 questions. Okay, so we got to get you down to that time. If we didn't, someone asked me why I did this. I thought I told you, but here we are. AP Gov does not, AP Comp does not have time tests because they don't need it because they have a very generous amount of time. We only do things because we need to do things. And your timing is very quick for AP Gov, AP, what class is this? AP World. So that's why we do it. Okay. Here we go. So we're into a whole new unit for the next 4 weeks. All we're talking about is the Cold War. And I really like the Cold War. And I hope you do too, because a lot of your tests, a very incredibly large amount of your test is based on it. We are now getting into the higher weighted sections, because what is the official name of this course, ladies and gentlemen? Modern, which is talking about these types of things. Here we go. We have Iceland, Ireland, Great Britain, France, Spain, Portugal, okay, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Soviet Union. Write Soviet Union over here, please, because we're going to put our little key over here. We have Poland. We have East Germany. Oh my God. So this map is post. There you go. Is it the same map we have today? No. Okay, we don't have East and West Germany anymore. Okay. We have Czechoslovakia. We have Hungary. We have Romania. We have Bulgaria. We have Turkey. We have Greece. We have Albania. We have Yugoslavia. We have Italy. We have Switzerland, but I'm just going to write Swiss. And we have Austria. Oh my God, they separated them again from Germany. Over here, we have the Netherlands. Over here, we have Belgium. Okay. We have the Atlantic, Med Sea, Black Sea, Caspian Sea. All right, you need 4 boxes. You have NATO. You have Warsaw Pact. Non-communist. Non-aligned. And then you have communist, non-aligned. Okay. So NATO for me is going to be purple. Okay. Does anyone know what NATO stands for? Who can raise their hand and tell me what NATO stands for? What do we got? Ethan? No. No. Danny? North Atlantic. Oh, it sounded like you said North American. What did you say? Oh, I didn't hear the correction. North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It's Atlantic because they have people in Europe and they have some in America. So don't say American. Now, you should know NATO because, especially in the last year, NATO has only become more powerful, correct? Okay, the reason why Putin has invaded Ukraine. Oh my God. Oh my God. The reason why Putin has invaded Ukraine is because they are threatening to join NATO. Because if Putin invaded a NATO nation, all of NATO has to go to war. Okay? Now, the Ukraine happens to be right here. It doesn't form until 1993. So keep that in mind. It's only been around for 30 years. It's right next door to Poland, who is going to eventually join NATO after they leave, after the Soviet Union crashes about 30 years ago as well. Okay, so the reason why Putin is trying to take over Ukraine is because they're threatening to join NATO. By joining NATO, all of a sudden, the Russian border now touches a NATO country, which Putin sees as a direct threat to Russia. Is everyone clear on that? So, today in 2023, is NATO important or not important? It is so important that Zelensky, who is the president of Ukraine, today is officially having meetings for the Ukraine to join NATO. It is so important that Putin has not stopped bombing it in the last 4 days in the area the meeting is happening. Huge deal. Because what is the last thing Putin wants? The expansion of NATO. Okay? What do you got, Riley? It is, but he doesn't want it to continue to spread and have more countries flip to NATO. Poland is one of the first former Soviet bloc countries to turn to NATO. Does that make sense? So he's trying to stop it from spreading. Now, because Putin has invaded Ukraine, pretty much every country over here wants to now be in what? NATO. So instead of stopping a problem, he's only exacerbated it and made it significantly worse. Okay, so immediately after the war, the world picks teams. What are the two teams post-World War II? Lexi, what are the two teams? No, Germany's been defeated. Hitler's dead in a bunker. What are the two teams in the Cold War, ladies and gentlemen? Communist versus capitalist. Okay, U.S. versus Russia. Okay, those are the two teams that you have. Every country has to pick a team or defiantly not pick a side. If you don't pick a side, the country, both sides refuse to help you, which is both a blessing and a curse. So, we are forcing the rest of the world to pick a team. Are you on team why do I want to call everything Hitler today? You're either on team Russia or you're on team US. Okay? Now, the Cold War officially begins the last year of World War II. Everyone knew this was going to lead to a different conflict, but the atrocities of war scared people from actually having a direct war. So, what we're going to see is that there is no physical war, but we're going to have things called proxy wars. What do you think a proxy war is, Alex?
It's when, like, other people fight for
You use other conflicts to fight. Absolutely. Who can give me an example of a proxy war? Remember, the Cold War, the United States never officially bombs Russia. But we fight Russia, like, all over the place. What's a proxy war? An example, Danny. Vietnam is a bomb answer. What's another one? Come on now, Riley. Korean War, absolutely. And there's a bunch of other conflicts that we get in specifically so we can fight the Russians, but not fight the Russians. So we use proxy wars in order to do it. So these are our NATO countries as of 1951. These countries are still in it, and it has expanded significantly since the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. Okay, so NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. The funny thing is, when Donald Trump was running for office in 2016, so in 2015, he kept making an argument that NATO itself was dead and old and tiresome. Today in 2023, it is more vibrant now than ever. That's how quick things change in geopolitical politics. Okay? Warsaw, for me, is going to be yellow. Warsaw Pact is what creates the Soviet bloc, or the countries that are under Soviet control. As we've mentioned 1,000 times in AP World, to the victors go the spoils, yes? You win the war, you get the prizes. Well, after the war, the Russians took over a huge part of Europe for their sacrifices during the war. And what is their biggest sacrifice during the war? People, yeah, they're going to lose almost 45 million people. Okay? Like insane numbers that are coming out of Russia. So, after the war, the Soviets get a ton of territory. Now, everyone knows this Cold War is starting. Stalin hates FDR and Churchill, but they need each other to finish the war. So as soon as the war ends, the Cold War officially begins. And Stalin knows that the US and the UK want to invade. So he creates buffer states. Buffer states are countries that put a separation between the Soviet Union and the West. So, as Stalin takes over these territories in order to create a gap between the Soviets and the West. Because if you were going to attack the Soviet Union, you have to start fighting from all the way over here, and that gives the Soviets a heads up. Stalin is going to call this his buffer states. You can't hit the Soviets unless you go through Poland and East Germany. The West calls it what? The Iron Curtain. Absolutely. The West refers this as the Iron Curtain. This is the shield for the Soviets. The Iron Curtain is coined by Churchill. You have to know that phrase. You cannot refer to the Cold War without using it. Okay, so all of these countries are under direct control over the Warsaw Pact. There are two treaties in place here. The Warsaw Pact, which is created by the Soviet Union, that controls East Germany, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, and Albania. Then you have the NATO Treaty, which aligns Turkey, Greece, Italy, France, Portugal, Great Britain, and Iceland. What?
I'm confused why they would take over the area of like the Iron Curtain if like it's mostly just airplanes.
Well, you still got to move troops. You can't conquer a territory without troops. So they still got to move troops. Now, of course, airplanes are a huge deal. And of course, after we win the war, after defeating Japan, everyone knows now atomic bombs are on the table. Yes? So, but you still got to get troops there. And that's what he's trying to support. Is that the best thing? If you want to avoid someone, the best thing you can do is create as much space as possible. And that's what Stalin's trying to do. Okay, so non-communist and non-aligned. These are countries who have chosen no team. Okay? They have chosen no team and they get no assistance from either side post World War II. Okay? Now, Switzerland is always neutral. Okay? However, what is their economies? If they're non-communist, non-aligned, which means they're still capitalist, but they're not picking Team America. They all have their different reasons, but they don't want to be involved. And Spain as well. Why doesn't Spain want to be involved? What's still going on in Spain? Last 70 years, people. Spanish Civil War. Okay, so, and then you have communist, non-aligned. So, this is a country that converts to communism, but is not in the Warsaw Pact, and that's Yugoslavia. Now, you've probably heard of Yugoslavia, yes? There's a huge civil war that erupts because of the Russians, okay? And eventually will collapse with millions of atrocities. All right, color it in. You got 1 minute to finish coloring it in. So, there are two treaties that dictate the Cold War. You have NATO and you have Warsaw. NATO is spearheaded by the Americans. Warsaw is Soviets. Which one wins? NATO, of course. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Flip it. Okay. Over here, we're going to do divided Germany. Okay. So, the actual country of Germany gets divided 4 ways. Okay. Every person on the winning team gets a portion of it because to the victors go the... So, this exists from 1949 to 1990. Okay, this division of Germany. It doesn't need to be perfect, but try. Doesn't have to be perfect, just try. You need 4 boxes. Britain. United States. Soviet Union. France. All right. Who is going to have the worst regions of Germany? Who is the least influential on this? France. So, for me, France is going to be blue. This is pretty blue. So, they're going to have the smallest, and they're going to have the parts that aren't both connected because, frankly, they lose to Germany pretty quick. But they do come back and fight, and they do create a expat government in France and all that stuff, and they're doing all the things, but that's why they're so... They get, like, the worst territory. Okay, then you have Soviet Union. Now, inside the Soviet Union's piece, it is important that you know we have the capital city of Germany. And what is the capital city of Germany? Berlin. Berlin is the capital city, so it gets divided 4 ways. This is Berlin. It's the capital. It happens to be in Soviet territory. Now, inside it, you need to know the city of Berlin is divided into 4 sections because it's the capital city and it's divided amongst the 4 victors. For the Soviet Union, for me, they're going to be orange. They control a part of Berlin and they control all the territory around Berlin. You will notice that the Soviets do get incredibly generous amounts of the loot. Why? They lost so many people in World War II, and everyone's trying to keep them happy so they don't have like a nuclear war. Does everyone see what's happening here? Now, what is built around the city of Berlin? A wall. Okay, they're going to section it off. It's called the Berlin Wall. It is incredibly famous because it's supposed to keep people in, which is funny. All right, so the United States gets a piece, and they are down here. So remember, this is just Germany only that this gets divided. Okay, and then finally Britain, for me, is going to be pink. Okay. Now, eventually, these three parts, and write it just the way I am, is going to be West Germany. Why is it called West Germany? Because the Western countries control it. This is going to be known as East Germany, and who controls it? The Soviets. Oh, I gotta color in my little sections here. United States gets, United States for me is green. They get this side. And then for me, Britain is pink. And they get this. There you go. So eventually East Germany, which has the city of Berlin. And then West Germany. Does anyone have their textbook I can borrow for 2 seconds? Textbook? No one has their textbook? I just don't feel like getting up. You got one?
Here you go.
Oh, thank you, Aiden. Alright. Page 5. Thank you, Aiden. Okay, here we go. Okay, for your chart. Nehru is India. You need to know, served as prime minister. From 1947 to 1964. Viewed as an important leader. Of the BANDUNG conference, which sets up the Indian government structure. Why is 1947 a big year? Hello? What's created? India. Huh? I can't hear you. BANDUNG. Okay. Kuruma is Ghana. Okay, he's going to lead Ghana to independence in 1957. Okay, he is going to create / advocate for the Organization of African Unity. Underneath it, you need to be known as became one of the most respected African leaders post World War II. Nasser is Egypt. You should know that name, yes? Okay, if you've ever seen The Crown, any of you watch The Crown? This is the guy she dances with in Africa. That's a huge scandal. This is like the first black person to ever touch her publicly. Maybe ever in her life. He just kind of grabs her and forces her onto the dance floor, which was huge scandal worldwide, but she went with it and ended up it being a super positive thing for the British Crown. It's also one of the first countries to really ditch the crown. Okay? This is her first country she loses. Now keep in mind, she is not fighting. Her dad is leading through World War II because she's only like 16. In 57, she is queen, and she becomes queen in, I think, 54. And as soon as she becomes queen, people start leaving in a big way. What do you got? Queen Elizabeth? Okay, Nasser served as president. From 1954 to 1970. Helped negotiate BANDUNG conference and supported Pan-Arab movement. He is also a huge deal. He is going to lead a coup and take back the Suez Canal from England. Is that a big deal or a little deal? That's a big deal. He is like a hero of all Arabs because of his leadership during this time period. And then you have Sukarno, who is Indonesia. Okay, first president of Indonesia, 1945, organized the Bandung, BANDUNG conference. What do you think is a big deal, ladies and gentlemen? Look at you. And criticized both U.S. and USSR, but took both aid. Okay, so he's pretty brave because he is going to criticize both of them openly. There you go. Okay, I will give you, how much time do I have?
15 minutes.
Ooh. Can I work on makeup work, please? Hello? Because I'm behind. I'm going to sit there and do makeup work. You can submit this on Canvas, I believe. I think I opened it yesterday. Please sit there in complete and utter silence.